War Poems of Wilfred Owen. Strange Meeting. It seemed that out of the battle I escaped, down some profound dull tunnel, long since scooped through granites which titanic wars had groined. Yet, also, there encumbered sleepers groaned, too fast in thought or death to be bestirred. Then, as I probed them, one sprang up and stared, with piteous recognition in fixed eyes, lifting distressful hands as if to bless. And by his smile I knew that sullen hall, with 1,000 fears that vision's face was grained. Yet no blood reached there from the upper ground, and no guns thumped, or down the flues made moan. "Strange friend," I said, "here is no cause to mourn." "None," said the other, "save the undone years, the hopelessness. Whatever hope is yours was my life also. I went hunting wild after the wildest beauty in the world, which lies not calm in eyes or braided hair, but mocks the steady running of the hour. And if it grieves richlier than here. For by my glee might many men have laughed, and of my weeping something has been left, which must die now. I mean the truth untold, the pity of war, the pity war distilled. Now men will go content with what we spoiled, or, discontent, boil bloody and be spilled. They will be swift with swiftness of the tigress, none will break ranks, though nations trek from progress. Courage was mine, and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine, and I had mastery. To miss the march of this retreating world into vain citadels that are not walled, then, when much blood had clogged their chariot wheels, I would go up and wash them from sweet wells, even with truths that lie too deep for taint. I would have poured my spirit without stint, but not through wounds, not on the cess of war. Foreheads of men have bled where no wounds were. I am the enemy you killed, my friend. I knew you in this dark, for so you frowned yesterday through me as you jabbed and killed. I parried, but my hands were loath and cold. Let us sleep now. Greater Love. Red lips are not so red as the stained stones kissed by the English dead. Kindness of wooed and wooer seem shame to their love pure. O love, your eyes lose lure when I behold eyes blinded in my stead. Your slender attitude trembles not exquisite like limbs knife-skewed, rolling and rolling there where God seems not to care, till the fierce love they bear cramps them in death's extreme decrepitude. Your voice sings not so soft, though even as wind murmuring through raftered loft, your dear voice is not dear, gentle and evening clear, as theirs whom none now hear. Now earth has stopped their piteous mouths that coughed. Heart, you were never hot, nor large, nor full like hearts made great with shot. And though your hand be pale, paler are all which trail your cross through flame and hail. Weep, you may weep, for you may touch them not. The Show. My soul looked down from a vague height with death, as unremembering how I rose or why, and saw a sad land, weak with sweats of dearth, grey, cratered like the moon with hollow woe, and fitted with great pocks and scabs of plaques. Across its beard, that horror of harsh wire, there moved thin caterpillars, slowly uncoiled. It seemed they pushed themselves to be as plugs of ditches, where they writhed and shrivelled killed. By them had slimy paths been trailed and scraped, round myriad warts that might be little hills. From gloom's last dregs, these long-strung creatures crept, and vanished out of dawn down hidden holes, and smell came up from those foul openings, as out of mouths or deep wounds deepening. On dithering feet upgathered, more and more, brown strings towards strings of grey, with bristling spines, all migrants from green fields, intent on mire. Those that were grey, of more abundant spawns, ramped on the rest and ate them, and were eaten. I saw their bitten backs curve, loop and straighten. I watched those agonies curl, lift and flatten. Whereat, in terror what that sight might mean, I reeled and shivered earthward like a feather. And death fell with me, like a deepening moan, and he, picking a manner of worm, which half has hid its bruises in the earth, but crawled no further, showed me its feet, the feet of many men, and the fresh severed head of it, my head. Mental cases. Who are these? Why sit they here in twilight? Wherefore rock they, purgatorial shadows, drooping tongues from jaws that slob their relish, baring teeth that leer like skulls' tongues wicked, stroke on stroke of pain, but what slow panic gouged these chasms round their fretted sockets? Ever from their hair and through their hand palms misery swelters. Surely we have perished sleeping, and walk hell, but who these hellish? These are men whose minds the dead have ravished, memory fingers in their hair of murders, multitudinous murders they once witnessed. Wading sloughs of flesh, these helpless wander, treading blood from lungs that had loved laughter. Always they must see these things and hear them, batter of guns and shatter of flying muscles, carnage incomparable and human squander, rucked too thick for these men's extrication. Therefore still their eyeballs shrink tormented back into their brains, because on their sense sunlight seems a blood smear, night comes blood black, dawn breaks open like a wound that bleeds afresh. Thus their heads wear this hilarious, hideous, awful falseness of set smiling corpses. Thus their hands are plucking at each other, picking at the rope knots of their scourging, snatching after us who smote them, brother, pouring us who dealt them war and madness. Parable of the old men and the young. So Abram rose and clave the wood, and went and took the fire with him, and a knife. And as they sojourned, both of them together, Isaac the firstborn spake and said, My father, behold the preparations, fire and iron, but where the lamb for this burnt offering? Then Abram bound the youth with belts and straps, and builded parapets and trenches there, and stretched forth the knife to slay his son, when lo, an angel called him out of heaven, saying, Lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do anything to him. Behold, a ram caught in a thicket by its horns. Offer the ram of pride instead of him. But the old man would not so, but slew his son. Arms and the boy. Let the boy try along this bayonet blade, How cold steel is, and keen with hunger of blood, blue with all malice like a madman's flash, and thinly drawn with famishing for flesh. Lend him to stroke these blind, blunt bullet heads which long to muzzle in the hearts of lads, or give him cartridges of fine zinc teeth, sharp with the sharpness of grief and death. For his teeth seem for laughing round an apple, there lurk no claws behind his fingers' supple, and God will grow no talons at his heels, nor antlers through the thickness of his curls. Anthem for Doomed Youth. What passing bells for those who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifles' rapid rattle can patter out their hasty horizons. No mockeries for them, no prayers nor bells, nor any voice of mourning save the choirs, the shrill demented choirs of wailing shells, and bugles calling for them from sad shires. What candles may be held to speed them all? Not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their pall, their flowers the tenderness of patient minds, and each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds. The sendoff. Down the close darkening lanes they sang their way to the siding shed, and lined the tray with faces grimly grey. Their breasts were stuck all white with wreath and spray as men's are, dead. Dull porters watched them, and a casual tramp stood staring hard, sorry to miss them from the upland camp. Then, unmoved, signals nodded, and a lamp winked to the guard. So secretly, like wrongs hushed up, they went. They were not ours. We never heard to which front these were sent. Nor there, if they yet mock what women meant who gave them flowers. Shall they return to beatings of great bells in wild trainloads? A few, too few for drums and yells, may creep back silent to still village wells up half-known roads. Dulce et decorum est. Bent double like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge, till on the haunting flares we turned our backs, and towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots, but limped on bloodshod. All went lame, all blind, drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of gas shells dropping softly behind. Gas, gas! Quick, boys, an ecstasy of fumbling, fitting the clumsy helmets just in time. But someone still was yelling out and stumbling, and floundering like a man in fire or lime. Dim through the misty panes and thick green light, as under a green sea, I saw him drowning. In all my dreams before my helpless sight, he plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch the white eyes writhing in his face, his hanging face like a devil sick of sin, if you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, bitter as the cud of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues, my friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory the old lie. Dulce et decorum est pro patria mori. The deadbeat. He dropped more sullenly than wearily, lay stupid like a cod, heavy like meat, and none of us could kick him to his feet. Just blinked at my revolver, blearily. Didn't appear to know a war was on, or see the blasted trench at which he stared. "I'll do 'em in," he whined. "If this hand's spared, I'll murder them, I will." A low voice said, "It's Blighty, perhaps. He sees his pluck's all gone, dreaming of all the valiant that aren't dead. Bold uncle smiling ministerially, maybe his brave young wife getting her fun in some new home, improved materially. It's not these stiffs have crazed him, nor the Hun." We sent him down at last, out of the way. Unwounded, stout lad too, before that strafe, malingering, stretcher-bearers winked, "Not off." Next day, I heard the dog's well-whiskered laugh. "That scum you sent last night soon died, hooray." Spring Offensive. Halted against the shade of a last hill, they fed, and lying easy were at ease, and finding comfortable chest and knees, carelessly slept. But many there stood still, to face the stark blank sky beyond the ridge, knowing their feet had come to the end of the world. Marvelling they stood, and watched the long grass swirled by the May breeze, murmurous with wasp and midge, for though the summer oozed into their veins like the injected drug for their bones' pains, sharp on their souls hung the imminent line of grass, fearfully flashed the sky's mysterious glass. Hour after hour they ponder the warm field in a far valley behind, where the buttercups had blessed with gold their slow boots coming up, where even the little brambles would not yield, but clutched and clung to them like sorrowing hands. They breathed like trees unstirred. Till, like a cold gust, thrilled the little word at which each body and its soul begird, and tightened them for battle. No alarms of bugles, no high flags, no clamorous haste, only a lift and flare of eyes that faced the sun, like a friend with whom their love is done. O larger shone that smile against the sun, mightier than his whose bounty these have spurned. So soon they topped the hill and raced together over an open stretch of herb and heather, exposed. And instantly the whole sky burned with fury against them, and soft sudden cups opened in thousands for their blood, and the green slopes chasmed and steepened sheer to infinite space. Of them who, running on that last high place, leapt to swift unseen bullets, or went up on the hot blast and fury of hell's upsurge, or plunged and fell away past this world's verge, some say God caught them even before they fell. But what say such as from existence's brink ventured but drave too swift to sink? The few who rushed in the body to enter hell, and there outfeeding all its fiends and flames with superhuman inhumanities, long famous glories, immortal shames, and crawling slowly back, have by degrees regained cool, peaceful air in wonder. Why speak they not of comrades that went under? The chances. I mind as how the night before that show, us five got talking, we was in the know. Over the top tomorrow, boys, we're for it. First wave we are, first ruddy wave, that's tore it. Ah, well, says Jimmy Ann, he's seen some scrapping. There ain't more nor 5 things as can happen. You get knocked out, else wounded bad or cushy. Scuppered or nowt else you're feeling mushy. One of us got the knockout, blown to chops, t'other was hurt, like losing both its props, and one, to use the word of hypocrites, and had the misfortune to be taken by Fritz. Now me, I wasn't scratched, praise God Almighty, though next time, please, I'll thank him for a blighty. But poor young Jim, he's living and he's not. He reckoned he'd 5 chances, and he's had. He's wounded, killed, and prisoner, all the lot. The ruddy lot all rolled in one. Jim's mad. Futility. Move him into the sun. Gently its touch awoke him once. At home, whispering of fields unsown. Always it woke him, even in France, until this morning and this snow. If anything might rouse him now, the kind old sun will know. Think how it wakes the seeds, woke once the clays of a cold star. Our limbs so dear achieved, our sides full nerves still warm, too hard to stir. Was it for this the clay grew tall? Oh, what made fatuous sunbeams toil to break earth's sleep at all? Smile, smile, smile. Head to limp head, the sunk-eyed wounded scanned yesterday's mail. The casualties, typed small, and large, vast booty from our latest haul. Also they read of cheap homes not yet planned, for, said the paper, when this war is done, the men's first instinct will be making homes. Meanwhile, their foremost need is aerodromes. It being certain war has just begun, peace would do wrong to our undying dead. The sons we offered might regret they died, if we got nothing lasting in their stead. We must be solidly indemnified. Though all be worthy victory which all bought, we rulers sitting in this ancient spot would wrong our very selves if we forgot. The greatest glory will be theirs, who fought, who kept this nation in integrity. Nation. The half-limbed readers did not chafe, but smiled at one another curiously, like secret men who know their secret safe. This is the thing they know and never speak, that England one by one had fled to France, not many elsewhere now save under France. Pictures of these broad smiles appear each week, and people in whose voice real feeling rings say, how they smile, they're happy now, poor things. Conscious. His fingers wake and flutter up the bed, his eyes come open with a pull of will, helped by the yellow mayflowers by his head. A blind cord drawls across the window-sill. How smooth the floor of the ward is. What a rug! And who's that talking, somewhere out of sight? Why are they laughing? What's inside that jug? Nurse? Doctor? Yes, all right, all right. But sudden dusk bewilders all the air. There sees no time to want a drink of water. Nurse looks so far away, and everywhere music and roses burnt through crimson slaughter. Cold, cold. He's cold and yet so hot, and there's no light to see the voices by. No time to dream and ask he knows not what. The end. After the blast of lightning from the east, the flourish of loud clouds, the chariot thrown, after the drums of time have rolled and ceased, and from the bronze west long retreat is blown, shall life renew these bodies? Of a truth, all death will he annul, all tears assuage, or fill these void veins, fill again with youth, and wash with an immortal water age? When I do ask white age, he saith not so. My head hangs weighed with snow, and when I hearken to the earth, she saith, my fiery heart sinks aching, it is death. Mine ancient scars shall not be glorified, nor my titanic tears the seas be dried.